So, can you state the name that you would like to use for this interview?
Daniel.
Daniel. Can you tell us a brief background of your life? You're coming to the United States.
I'm from Mexico. I was born in Mexico, and I moved to the U.S. in 1999 when I was 9 years old. I remember my dad had lived in the U.S. previous to us moving here, so he decided that there was no way we were gonna have a life in Mexico, and he gave us the option of moving to the U.S. and we were kids, so we all agreed. We're like, yeah, whatever you guys want to do, that's where we'll go. The only hard part when we were younger was that we weren't going to see our friends anymore. We weren't going to see our family, and outside of that, we're like, okay, let's go. We took a plane somewhere to some state in Mexico up north, where we would illegally cross the border. And to me, it was the easiest thing in the world because we got fake IDs. We had a storyline of who we were, a made-up name, and we just crossed the bridge. Nothing else. I've heard and seen on the news stories of people having to cross the desert, having to cross lakes to get to this country, but I didn't experience any of that, and I'm very fortunate and blessed that I didn't have to go through that because I was 9 years old. My sister had just turned 8, or was going to turn 8, and my brother was around 6 years old. So we were pretty young when we decided to come here. When we crossed the border, we were separated. My mom was with my brother and sister and I, and my dad had to go a different route. I think my dad had it a little more difficult. To this day, I still haven't asked him how he crossed the border, and honestly, it's not something I really want to know because it probably hurt me. Maybe sometime down the road I'll ask him, but right now it's not something I really want to talk about with him. But when we were united, we were stuck in a hotel, and the people who were helping us cross the border kept on asking for money and money and money, and we didn't have any more money to give. So we just packed our bags and took a bus, I think, to somewhere in California. And it was that simple. We just went to California. We stayed in a motel, and there was a McDonald's next to us, so we had McDonald's for a few days. To us, it was the greatest thing in the world because having McDonald's in Mexico is a luxury, so we thought it was the coolest thing in the world. My aunt and uncle, who live in Bellevue, came to pick us up they drove to California, picked us up, and we drove up to Washington. And that's where we've been for the past 13 years, going on 14.
So then, can you describe what inspired you to seek a higher education?
The person that helped me the most was one of my teachers in high school. She motivated me to go to to college because she said, "Look, this is going to be your opportunity to fulfill any dreams that you want to do." And for me at the time was to be a teacher, and then it was to be a sports writer. And she said, it's going to be really difficult if you don't do it, if you don't go to college. So I thought about it, and it was a no-brainer. It was, I have to go to college. And I do like learning. I enjoy learning. I enjoy being in school, but that wasn't crossing my mind at the time. I just wanted the opportunity to fulfill my dreams. And then once I was in college, I guess I was it opened my eyes to all the things that I wanted to do, not just for myself, but for other people. And I started using, my teacher as motivation, my parents' hard work as motivation. My dad, who works in a construction company, and I've worked with him several times, I see the hard things that he has to do at work and the benefits that he doesn't get. So I want to have a job where I'm able to get benefits and do my job, and people see the work that I'm doing and appreciate it, and not just simply treat me like I'm just another worker. I've seen what my mom has to do as she cleans houses, where she has to clean toilets and people leave messes, and it's disgusting, and I don't want that life. And not to say that it's a bad job, but it always goes unappreciated. You can't go, once you reach a peak, you can't go any higher than that. And I don't want that. I want to consistently keep going up and up and up until there's nowhere else I can go. And if there's nowhere else I can go, maybe I can start doing something else. But the only way that I can do that is by getting a college education.
How are you able to be here at college financially?
Financially, right now, I applied for scholarships. My first semester at Washington State, my parents helped out a lot. They paid for my rent, barely, but I mean they helped me out a lot. I was able to get scholarships, help from my parents. I had some money saved up from my previous jobs, so all that went into play first semester. And first semester and second semester. First semester helped a bit because I took out a loan that helped me pay for that semester. Second semester was mostly my parents. And then this year, it's been a lot of scholarships that paid for my tuition. And my parents have been helping me pay for my rent and utilities.
So, with the new proposed bill 5087, what do you think are the effects that could, for you, anyone you know, surrounding that bill should it be enacted?
For me, it wouldn't have much impact because, fortunately, I'm graduating in May. So I wouldn't have to deal with a tuition increase. But for other people, that's who I fear for the most. I still have a brother and sister who go to college, and they're helped out by the bill HB 1079 because they pay in-state tuition because they're Washington residents. We have been for the past 13 years. So if that doesn't define being a resident, it's hard to tell what is. But for other people, it would just it'd be devastating. You wouldn't have people who are trying to pursue a higher education from a limited background trying to reach goals. You would just have them reach a peak at a young age and stay there. There's no more going up for them. And the number of students from different countries, different cultures would not be able to pursue that because they wouldn't be able to pay for it financially. Yes, there'll still be some people who would say, you know what, I don't care. I'll take out whatever loan and I'm going to get a higher education. But those people are limited. It's very, very limited. And in this case, my belief would be that you want to help people. You want to help them reach their dreams. And in a country that prides itself on giving people an opportunity, you would be limiting people from doing that. You would have people working in the job that they've worked at since they were 16 years old, let's say. For instance, for me, if I was younger and I wasn't graduating in May, when I was younger, I worked at a restaurant. I worked at a construction company. And not being able to go to college would just tell me that that's as far as I'd be able to stay. I probably wouldn't go to college. So it'd be difficult to pay for it. It would be a killer for a lot of students trying to pursue that college education.
So, along those lines, how do you feel about taxpayers and legal residents and citizens of the United States, but particularly Washington State, paying for your finances regarding financial aid or scholarships?
I look at it as an investment. It sounds horrible because you're saying, well, these kids are benefiting from my money. But at least that money is going into something that's going to help them, which could potentially help, the American population or this state or the residents in this state. So it's not like this money is going to support, the wrongdoings. It's supporting a cause. It's supporting a children's education. Someone who has dreams, and who knows what they do with those dreams. What if they have the dream to be a doctor or to be a lawyer, and they're actually helping much more than they're hurting, to me it's an investment. So I don't see I see the problem and I see the backlash to it, but it's very difficult for me to think that this money could go somewhere else where it'd be beneficial. In this case, to me, I believe it benefits more than it does wrong. I know that for me, I've been a taxpayer since I've had a job. My family pays for taxes, and the taxes that we pay, or every time we do our taxes, it's going to support something else. But in the end, we're not getting any benefit from it because we're undocumented immigrants. So, and I know a lot of people who are undocumented but still do their taxes because they say, you know what, this country requires you to do your taxes, so we do it. And if some people, yes, a majority of residents who do their taxes, yeah, that's more money coming in to helping undocumented students than the money from undocumented immigrants that are doing their taxes. But in the end, we're all trying to help each other out because, I mean, my money as an undocumented immigrant is going to someone else's retirement that's not benefiting me, and same with my parents. And someone who is legally allowed to work in the U.S., their money is going to someone else's education. It's kind of a win-win for everyone, I guess. It's unfair, but it helps both parties.
Thank you.